I know, I'm like groggy and shit, just waking up or whatever. Yeah, I'm like, Anyway, okay, so this is like real talk, real chat or whatever, blah blah blah. Let me see, I need like one of those little holders. I had the little squeegee dog butt thing. Yeah, it's like somewhere that holds the phone or whatever. I know I'm like big into this stuff. Yeah, I'm like when I get inspired by shit, I just run with shit on my own, but I've always been that way, especially when it came to art and stuff. Yeah, I know. You can make a career alone out of being a jewelry designer. You can make a career alone out of being, a comedian. Yeah, even if it's like, I mean, a Heyoka, the sacred clown, or the holy idiot. I mean, yeah, that's what a Heyoka is. You might as well say is a comedian, really, actually. So yeah, so it's like you're still kind of like trying to find yourself, find your center, find who you are. And I did get some things in consciousness last night. Granted, I may not remember them right now, but yeah, I'm sure they'll come to me at some point. But you know, yeah, it's like I don't know. I think I have fears. I feel like I still have fears of the past too. So I don't know. There's a fine line between like fear and one's fear versus distortion is another thing. I'm trying to think what else. There's also a difference between what is that? Covert narcissism. It's kind of like always there, either way you look at it. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's like this. It's a fear of having burdens all on me, basically, because of the situation I've been in and how, it could be me staying stuck on the past to a degree, but it's also to like, it's, of course, you don't want to like repeat that or whatever. So, I don't know, it could still be fears or whatever on my part, but I don't know. Finding yourself, finding what works for you, finding what doesn't, it's all trial and error. Not only that, the sun just came out maybe only in the past like 5 days, literally. Yeah, so it's kind of like you can only like hold stuff against people for so long because it's like the timing of the universe is out of your control. And not only that, we're all shapeshifters anyway, and shit backfired like a while ago. Yeah, I'm just kind of like, you're not really left with anything in a sense or whatever. It's just, but no, considering I have a really interesting past because of like the types of relationships I've had or whatever. It's like they were trying to be monogamous and conservative, but they weren't, kind of thing, fully. That's pretty much what I'm used to. So, I mean, that's like a lot. That's overcoming a lot. And it's not even like, I know I can't play victim on all of them or whatever, because it's like you mutually participated in shit or whatever, consented and shit like that. Yeah, it's one of those things, but it is interesting too, especially when you're, what is it, a female, and you were still loyal to the man, basically. So I guess that's actually really old school too, still. Yeah, when you think about it, like, what do they call that? Days of the Kings, and how they had concubine or whatever. So it's kind of like, I'm sure that's old programming there when you really think about it. So when people think, oh, polygamy, swinger lifestyle, it's so hip, it's so out there, it's so cutting edge, or it's the way to go, or all these things. I'm not saying that it doesn't work for people out there or whatever. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't or whatever, because I can't speak for everyone. But I know, at least for me, that from my experiences in reality, yes, it's more just about the man. Yeah, it is more just about, to be really honest, like, this is basically saying, this is coming from me being honest with myself more too. You know, yeah, you have, it's more about the, some of my words, it's more about the man and satisfying the man, not so much like yourself. Though it's like, it can be fun for you as a female, whatever, but in the end of the day, yeah. So it's, I don't necessarily consider it I wouldn't consider it healthy, no. No, because from my experiences too, I mean, I'm not to say that it's, you don't have your fun and whatever. I'm not saying don't experience life or whatever, but yeah, it's like, I'm like about like that about it, like, experience life, live your life. But at the same time, you learn from those experiences, like, okay, is this for me or is this not for me? And you could look back and say, okay, well, I did it, I experienced that, blah blah blah. Yeah, so I got my coffee or whatever, but I know I'm a weird one. I have my moments. I can be very serious and whatever and all this stuff, and other times it's like, forget about it. I'm like, I'm just a complete fool all over the place. So, yeah, I seen the sticker. I saved Creative Fuel, the coffee. Yeah, because I always thought it was weird too how, like, when I would drink coffee on and off, it just, like, I don't know, it's like it gave me like a dopamine rush or something. I was noticing that a while ago. Not only that, obviously the supplements I've been taking too or whatever, and detoxing shit, neurotoxins, amyloid plaque, whatever. But something else helped it. Just like, I noticed it would like motivate me and help me to really focus, cuz I noticed, cuz I was like, over, only within the past 5 days I was like, oh, that Pisces side, yeah, it was like coming out, and I was like, it is cute. Yeah, because it's like happy go lucky, like do 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 do. And then I seen like a fish, this fat I seen this fat fish like spirit like looking at me with like the eyes sticking out like buggy eyes like on the other side. I was like, oh my god. You know how they got the big mouth? He's like, whoa, like that. Yeah, I know. It was cute. I was like, what? It's like, at the time you're just kind of like, you don't think much of it or anything kind of thing, and you're just like in the moment, basically. That's how I could best describe things or whatever, but it was funny. I was like, oh, hello. Yeah, I know. I see, like, you get so used to seeing visions, and it's like hard to keep track of everything, and things happen so fast, and I'll do videos and then I don't always post them and whatever, so then like I have to backtrack and then I forget like stuff I've mentioned in videos or whatever. Yeah, you're just like, whatever anymore about shit or whatnot. But yeah, I've been studying stuff and trying stuff a lot, so it's like I've been serious about things, and I've just been doing it on my own for a while. I've been used to doing stuff on my own for a while, like 5 years plus. Yeah, 5, 6 years, really. It's the honest truth. Yeah, because what is it? Women dealing with kept men, basically. So it's like they don't want to work. Yeah, basically. It's not to say that they don't have skill or that they can't take initiative or don't or whatever. Things are always subject to change, but it's like, I find it interesting too in that, because it's like really just mirrors, like, what is that, gold diggers or whatever. since apparently females are kind of more or less gold diggers in general or some shit like that. The ironic thing about that, though, when I think about it, because it's like at first I'm like, oh, really, blah, 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 but you're just like, you know what? What is that? Your life experiences will, like, speak for themselves. So just because there's that always there, or even if people want to like pin it on you, or even if it's like true to a degree or shit like that, it's like your past and your actions will speak for themselves in like real life time. So whatever you've done in your life and however you've gone about relationships or whatever, you know. Yeah, but it is interesting when you're like a person that can do both. Like you can be that covert narcissist and then you can be like the opposite or whatever, so it is kind of weird. Yeah, it's just very, you just are this a dynamic being basically, you know, so it's to only to be expected. I mean, 1111 Chica mentioned a reader digital analog like a while ago, and options backfiring a while ago, so it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's like I look back and I think to myself too, and I'm like, why is it so much easier for me to forgive someone versus like another person in the collective kind of thing? You start to have to like question yourself in the end of the day too, and that fact too, like that alone. I know. Tell me about that too. So you know, it's kind of like, oh, I know. When it's like when you find the person like that's for you, yeah, you start to care less about, I guess, like physical appearances so much or something like that. Yeah, because it starts to be more about like how you flow with that person, compatibility, that per other person bringing out your inner child, you know. Yeah, I know. Granted, there's got to be some physical attraction, mind you. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I know I never used to have puffy cheeks. I just need to like sunbathe. Was it squirt my body down with castor oil, like Edgar Casey's talked about, with the packs and like just or how the Hindus did in India for centuries, bathe in the sun, bask in the sun. I know carnivore really is on Instagram or whatever. Yeah, my biggest problem is like organizing. Yeah, so yeah, I'm like noticing every people been talking, oh Virgo, blah 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 blah, Aries, blah blah blah. I've been paying attention. I may not pay attention to everything, but it's been like a big, you know, chunk for a while. Yeah, because it was like a while ago I was getting kind of like more or less yelled at, like, oh, you're being nosy and whatever, and a reader mentioning that. And then I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, another reacher. Someone's reacher? I don't know. Someone, another reader mentioned don't not leaving any stone, you know, unturned, basically. Yeah, so and some people are saying, "Oh, you know, don't go do pulling a read on me, just, you know, whatever." So I don't know. I have heard like mixed things about all that just to give people perspective, you know. I've been, you know, going marrying nosing around, but at the same time I've stepped back from doing that because of people accusing me of being nosy or whatever. Yeah, you get to that point too where it's like if you're not if people aren't listening to you or whatever, like there's no sense in you overextending your energy or hyperextending your energy, or you know, all these things when you could be putting utilizing it in, you know, a better way or whatever, like more practical ways or more useful ways or whatever. Yeah, despite whatever responsibilities I have right now or current predicament or whatever. So it's like, no, I didn't, you know, I didn't sign up to be a caregiver or caretaker or stay at home 24/7 living sort of nanny maid thing or whatever. Yeah, it's more like just one of those things where it like fell on your lap, so Yeah, I had tried caregiving. Like I remember a long time ago, it was with like a back in Illinois because I'm originally from Illinois. To those that are curious, I was told when I moved to Arizona that I had Chicago accent or Wisconsin accent is correct. And yes, I worked by Cahokia, my Mounds. What is that? Washington Park, St. Louis. A very short period of time. So I was drawn to going over there, I guess. Yeah, so you think of Native Americans. I didn't know the Native Americans and the Mayans, yeah, with the Celts and Vikings were so. Yeah, it's interesting when you start reading in the books or whatever. I did a video on it. I might post it back up where I read about the Templars, the Maya, Aztecs, and Moors and Arabs. Yeah, so I just kind of like, because I know when you can read things, it can like help heal and help open things up. And the irony of it was I read that the other night, and then last night we had. I'm part Mexican, so I don't want to hear it from people, and Native American too. But we had two, I guess, Mexican kids randomly trying to break into a car next door at our next door neighbors here. Yeah, and we're like peering in our window and shit, and of course, my husband's like, like, hey, I got a gun, like, don't mess with it, and then of course ran away. Yeah, so I don't have, to those are curious, I don't have a criminal background actually, despite me, with TAXES or, doing the adult entertainment. And I won't go into other details to keep it PG-13 on here. Um, you know, yeah, I was able to get a few firearms basically, but no, I was actually never I was never political, I was never religious, and I was never like one of those big like I didn't have a set opinion on pro guns or against guns basically. Yeah, so I guess you could just say I'm like more or less like a neutral person really. So think of like a gray, I guess that gray alien that cross dresses. Was that for American Dad or whatever? He's gay. Yeah, androgyny, and that's Lemurian stuff. So that's where that all that kind of comes. That's where it comes from. The book I've been reading talks about it. So true world history, humanity saga. So I'm even behind on like reading and stuff, even though I do all this stuff or have been. So, yeah, it's weird. It's like I'm not used to healthy, normal male attention like at all. It is that bad, and it's like I can't. I'm not going to just play the victim and sit and woe is me or anything. You know, though it's like I know we're like crybabies and shit or whatever, but it's like you have emotions. They're mixed emotions. So if you are indeed a multidimensional being, yeah. Not only that, not all the emotions are yours anyway. Yeah. So, but I don't know. I've done a substantial amount of work for over many years in actuality too. So it's kind of like I think really in the end of the day it's just a matter of me finding myself first, finding my center, still doing my healing, and then also taking action and doing the work I need to do, whatever it is. Yeah, getting myself to sit still long enough. That's the half the battle for me right there. Big thing, yeah. So, making things a routine too. I gotta do that too. So that's the ADD thing. Indigo kids too. Like being orderly. That's too why, like, the line of work, when I did do it, it had to be where I was like moving fast paced environments. Yeah, it kept my attention. So, and they noticed when I was in those environments, like, I did really good. Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie about that. So, even like delivery jobs or whatever. So, I've done independent contractor work for like a while because I noticed that just like worked better for me too. Yeah, it's entrepreneurship, when you're like better as your own boss too, or shit like that. So, anyway, but yeah, I have a lot of fine art. I have a lot of jewelry I've created. It's like one of those things too where it's like finding or meeting or working with a person that understands you, let alone is like receptive to you to begin with. So it's like, okay, you got the guy that's more of the malignant narcissist, right? He's the one that like grounds and it really anchors the, what is it, BPD female or whatever, right? So it's like finding that the ability to create that cohesion together, to be able to under work and bounce energies off of each other and create that synergy, but also know like, and not to be so judgmental too of the female, and allowing her to be expressive. So it's like that Pisces side in me, it's like longing for someone to be able to understand that within me, kind of thing too, or something, I don't know. Yeah, like, and you also have to be someone that's like, I guess, to a degree, like you understand and embrace like the gold digger, but not in like what am I trying to think, like not in a negative way. Yeah, like in a balanced center way, but it's like you also understand like their inner child or whatever shit like that. It's more about that. But it's like now it's like you got to think of like the inner child now is centered with the mother and father, so it's kind of like the inner child is like coming into its own within you. So acknowledging, it's like someone, you have to be able to fully acknowledge and be able to see the other person, and see and believe that, oh, they know what the hell they're doing, they know what the hell to do, like all these things. But you also got to find that person that that's right for you. Yeah, I know. So it's not to say that a person is a bad person or anything like that. It's just, you got to just find that right person. I guess more or less that understands you and willing to like bounce off you, and also not the men to be more receptive to the woman and listening to her, and also not being too judgmental, stubborn, pessimistic, or what is that, miserly, selfish. Yeah, shit like that too. What is that? It's like just goes into that play, takes two to tango stuff or whatever. Yeah, people talking about electrolytes. I have different forms, and I found out later on that that will cause leg cramps or something. But there could also be something with potassium and iodine together, and I have that, and that's for the nervous system. So I have that separately, and then I got this one that I picked up, and it's really just a synergy of calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium chloride, which most of it's actually sodium chloride. Yeah, but I have other like electrolyte stuff too. Let's see. I'll find another bottle, but anyway. Yeah, they talk about organ meats. I have a book on dental care or whatever, and I don't have the best setup, so um when it comes to books and shit like that. That's why I'm like, I'm better off like in a loft or something. Yeah, I'm like realizing like how much work I could get done just. I guess I was hearing on the news people are like living separate more or something like that. I'm starting to kind of like understand that more or whatever. But there was this banker guy I hung out with a while ago. I don't even remember his name, but um I know the upside down triangle or whatever pyramid thing, and he lived in a loft and it was big, like a big open space. Yeah, so you know, besides the only stuff that was like off to the side was like a bedroom